Greetings everyone and welcome. I'm your host Captain Rye, and today's video comes to us courtesy of Clubbed by Seal. And Seal is playing in the Tier 9 French battling bastard Alsace here in World of Warships. As the battle gets underway, it's Atlantic and it's a domination match mode. It's a Tier 9 maximum battle. There are carriers in this game, and we will see the enemy carrier in action towards the end of this game. And there's a limited number of destroyers, a very rare sight, only 3 per team. Now, as the battle gets underway here, talking about destroyers, Seal's team has technically a destroyer advantage as they have 2 Fletchers on their team. And as you've probably undoubtedly seen in many of my other videos, the Fletcher is my favorite Tier 9 destroyer, and it's a destroyer that, while it is technically Tier 9, is something I really consider Tier 9.5, especially if you're running it fully upgraded and with the survivability expert. You've got that health, you've got good torpedoes, and good guns. It really is a fantastic destroyer in domination match mode for getting up and challenging the caps. Now, speaking of caps, Seal spawned closest to the A cap point, but given the spawn situation and the fact the friendly destroyer that was also down there basically made a beeline for B, he has made the decision to not go towards the A cap point, and instead has basically clustered up with the rest of his team. Now, enemy Yugamo pops up in the B cap point, starts capturing it. The enemy team is already well in the process of capturing the C cap point, with pretty much nobody up there who's in a position to defend the C cap point, especially when you consider that, well, the guys who spawn closest to C cap point, basically, they're doing what is unfortunate in this kind of matchup. They are lemming training down to join up with the Charlie Foxtrot that's going on behind the B cap point. And the reason I say it's unfortunate is because it basically puts all their ships in one position, makes them easy targets for a coordinated destroyer attack from multiple angles, but more importantly, it puts them out of position to try and take the caps and try and support their destroyers in the process of taking those caps, especially against cruisers that have radar or rapid-firing guns like that Neptune up there. Now, that Neptune is a little bit broadside, and the Alsace, as we know, is very, very dangerous to broadside anything. Unfortunately, those shells mostly missed with 1 penetration, but that's alright. That Neptune hasn't learned his lesson and is going to continue to present broadside here as he turns a little bit, tries to get more shots off there, and it looks like he's slamming on his brakes and smoking up. Well, that's going to be unfortunate for him as these shots get fired off before he disappears into his smoke screen, and that is going to be a nice big old juicy citadel for Seal. Big hits there, but no kills yet. The enemy team has secured the C and A cap points, so they are going to start gaining that points lead. Right now, additionally, while they have technically secured the B cap point, more than likely that enemy Yugamo is in the B cap point, trying desperately to spot their friendly destroyers that are there. Now, that Yugamo does have a very low detection range, and it is one of the lowest in the game, so he can definitely get close enough to those Fletchers to spot them for those big nasty cruisers to shoot at. Of course, he is detected and forced out, so at the very least they can start gaining points there, but they have just lost a friendly cruiser, and so that loss, combined with the enemy team's 2 caps, is in fact going to put the enemy team up on points. Enemy Fletcher pops up there, detected briefly. He's up towards the C cap point, exactly where Seal is headed. So Seal does need to be careful here because that is an enemy destroyer, and a very, very good one. Secondaries opening up on this New Orleans. The secondaries on the French battleships Tier 8 and up are absolutely insane. And one of those things that I highly recommend, you invest the captain skill points and you get those manual secondaries. Very, very useful, especially in situations like this where you've got multiple targets well within range, and especially when you've got a destroyer that pops up, he's detected. Manual secondaries would absolutely ruin this Fletcher's day. I can attest to that personally, being on the receiving end of these kinds of secondaries. Torpedoes coming in here. Is Seal going to be able to torpedo beats it? No, unfortunately he's going to take one there. That's a little bit disappointing. Now you notice he's got a repair ability available, but he's not taking it yet. He's got the health that he can recover there, and he's presenting broadside to a lion. That is very, very dangerous for him to do here. And he's not going to be able to get away with it, as he takes a massive chunk of his health off as he tries to get behind this island. In the meantime, enemy New Orleans up here is effectively trying to run away from the situation. As it stands, he's now basically the only enemy ship up here, as the rest of his team has effectively gone down to the A cap point. But as you can see, most of Seal's team still in that Charlie Foxtrot back behind the B cap point, and they've started lemming training towards the C cap point, where they're not really going to be effective because there's nothing up here. Seal manages to secure a very, very nice fat double citadel on that New Orleans, taking him out of the game, securing his second kill here so far in the battle. And with that cruiser dead, a very dangerous cruiser for the friendly destroyers, their team has managed to close the points gap. Just that little bit here. That's 3 ships down to 2 ships down. And they are capturing the C cap point, but now they're losing the B cap point. And because everybody has effectively decided to head up to the C cap point, there's nobody in position to spot those pesky destroyers and pesky cruisers that are more than likely down there capping that B point. And this is where Seal's team really starts to fail on the domination mode of this game. They aren't going to turn around and push back to the B cap point and try and take it aggressively, really like they should. Instead, they're just going to start shooting at ships. And speaking of shooting at ships, this North Carolina looks like he's basically AFK up here by this island. And so Seal takes the advantage to shoot at a broadside battleship and causes him some serious damage. Additionally, his secondaries set a wonderful fire, and the friendly aircraft carrier has decided to go in and provide some additional support there, shooting him. The friendly ships that have also come back up there who have line of sight are also going to shoot at him, and since that North Carolina is effectively isolated, he's basically going to be easy pickings in this particular game. Going back, though, to the repair ability. The repair ability has once again come off cooldown, and I cannot stress this enough. If you're a battleship player and you have health available like this, use that repair ability while you have the time, while nobody's shooting at you. Please, please recover your health, get it back up there. Don't make yourself look like a more inviting a target. More importantly, especially while there's still destroyers in the game, don't run the risk of having less health when torpedoes start heading your direction. Because if you have the amount of health, you can only suffer hitting maybe 1 or 2 of those before getting taken out. 3 of them would kill you outright. Having more health, you can survive more. I can't tell you how many times it saved me. So here we have Seal has taken a torpedo, and he's actually flooding here. He takes a very, very long time to hit his repair key. Very stressful watching this replay just because of that. Now, because there are dive bombers coming in, I understand the sentiment not hitting that repair key right away, because you definitely don't want to get set on fire. There are torpedo bombers coming as well. But you have a friendly cruiser up there. Between your anti-aircraft and his anti-aircraft, you really should be able to mitigate most of that. Again, going into having that repair ability. When that repair ability comes off cooldown and you have the health to recover, please, please hit that repair key and recover that health. Save yourself the butt-clenching stress that is, oh my god, is it going to come off cooldown in time for me to recover health? Enemy Mogami is broadside onto a battleship, and that usually means a paddling here, but it looks like that Mogami manages to avoid getting hit with a citadel, which is actually fairly impressive considering the Mogami is effectively one giant citadel, so that's a little bit of a disappointment. However, he does get hit by a big whopping helping of normal penetration damage. And then there's the enemy Neptune. This is the Neptune that Seal hit earlier before. The good thing about the Neptune shooting at you, it can't set you on fire here, and getting set on fire right now would be a very, very bad thing for Seal, as he doesn't have a lot of health. On the other hand, he does have his repair ability coming off of cooldown and his damage control, so he will be able to put out any potential fires that pop up. He gets shots off at that Neptune yet again, but look at that, manages to bounce armor-piercing shells off of the bow of that Neptune. That is one very, very lucky Neptune here. Enemy Lexington pops up, looks like he's on fire, burning down nicely, but he does have his planes out and away. Seal takes a shot at that carrier, but I don't think he gave him enough lead. I don't think he's got enough range on his guns even to give enough lead in this particular case. Remember, the Lexington, very, very fast carrier here. But let's look at the situation here. Well, Seal sits in the backfield, drops off detectability, hopefully is able to recover some health here very shortly as this Mogami pops up again, providing broadside. The enemy team is down on ships. They've lost 6 ships to Seal's team's 3. Now they've lost 7 ships, and that Mogami is very low health. But they still hold 2 of the caps, and the only thing that's keeping Seal's team in this game at this point is the fact that they've managed to kill these ships. It basically comes down to the fact that the enemy team failed miserably to coordinate their attack efforts and take out Seal's ships. That's it. That's the only reason that they're losing this game. They have 2 of the caps. They had an advantage. And now, with the exception of having 2 caps, they just don't have that advantage anymore. Seal does manage to take out that Mogami, who did set him on fire, but he put that fire out quickly as he took him out, so he doesn't have to worry about being set on fire by that guy anymore. The Neptune, obviously, unless he gets close enough, can't set a fire, but he does have to worry about torpedoes from that ship. Remember, those are 10-kilometer torpedoes. The Neptune smokescreen disappears as he closes in here. His shells are almost reloaded. His secondaries in range, opening up here, and he's going to fire off here. Now, these are nice big battleship guns, and they do finally penetrate properly. Citadel and Kraken unleashed in this game, and with that kill, there's now just this De Grosser left. That's it, and he's basically got himself beached broadside onto a battleship, well, several battleships, out in the open. Torpedoes coming in there from the Neptune. Again, remember, 10-kilometer torpedoes there. Unfortunately for the Neptune, he managed to miss all of those torpedoes, as the Alsace is a fairly fast battleship. The only question now is whether or not our hero, Seal, can secure the kill on this De Grosser before the carrier manages to secure the kill with torpedoes. And yes, he does manage to do it, getting him his 6th kill in the game. 172,000 damage there. Devastating strike, Confederate, Dreadnought, Kraken Unleashed, and High Caliber all in one game. A very, very good game that really shouldn't have gone as well as it did, considering his team basically limiting up to 1 cap and then refused to cap any of the other locations. Top of the team for XP earned there at 2,700 base XP, a nice chunk of base XP in that game. Anyway, that's it for today's video, folks. If you liked the video, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, leave a comment down below. If you'd like to get semi-regular channel news and updates, you can do so by liking and following me on Facebook. If you'd like to help support me in the channel, you can do so by becoming my supporter on Patreon. Every dollar certainly helps. If you've got a replay like this one that you'd like to see featured on my channel, you can send it to my email, And if you'd like to watch me play various games live, albeit very intermittently, haven't come up with a permanent schedule for that yet, you can do so by following me on Twitch. You can find the links for all of those in the video description down below. And as always, I'll see you next time. This is Captain Rye, signing off.